She silences her voice to keep the peace while losing herself. From a young age, many women are taught to be agreeable, to not make waves, to be the peacemakers in rooms full of chaos. So she learns to hold her tongue even when her heart is breaking. She smiles when she wants to scream. She nods when she wants to say no. And every time she swallows her truth for the sake of someone else's comfort, a piece of her identity dies in silence. Her voice, once full of fire, vision, and conviction, becomes a whisper even she can barely hear. Not because she lacks the words, but because she's been conditioned to believe that speaking up makes her difficult, ungrateful, or unlovable. She walks on eggshells in her own life, afraid that honesty might cost her connection. She's in rooms where her presence is tolerated, not celebrated, and yet she stays. She stays quiet in the meeting when she had the solution. She stays quiet in the relationship when her needs go unmet. She stays quiet with her children, her friends, her leaders, all in the name of keeping peace. But what kind of peace is it if it costs your voice? What kind of harmony is it if it demands your silence? That's not peace. That's imprisonment. That's a muted life wrapped in pretty packaging. And the truth is, real peace doesn't require your silence. It requires your authenticity. The voice of a woman carries weight. It carries legacy. It carries truth. When she goes mute, the enemy rejoices because her silence means delayed healing, delayed boundaries, delayed purpose. And the longer she silences herself, the more she forgets how to speak at all. But here's the trap. Eventually, resentment replaces silence. Bitterness grows in the soil of unspoken pain. And suddenly, the woman who once silenced herself to protect others finds herself angry at everyone, even herself, for not listening to a voice she never allowed them to hear. She thinks she's being kind, being patient, being submissive. But submission without voice isn't partnership, it's erasure. And too many women are disappearing in the name of being good. But you can be kind and still be bold. You can be humble and still be honest. You can be loving and still be loud when necessary, because your voice was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to bring order, wisdom, and power to the chaos around you. The moment a woman reclaims her voice, she doesn't just free herself, she changes the atmosphere. She competes instead of connects, wounding her own sisterhood. Somewhere along the journey, the world convinced women that there's only room for one at the top, that her win means your loss, that beauty is a threat, that success is a comparison game. So instead of locking arms, women start locking horns. They scan each other for flaws instead of celebrating each other's strength. They see another woman's confidence as arrogance, another woman's promotion as intimidation, another woman's glow up as a threat instead of a testimony. And so the spirit of competition creeps in, slowly corroding what should have been collaboration. Insecure women compete. Whole women elevate. When you know who you are, you don't have to dim someone else's light to feel seen. You don't have to discredit her to validate yourself. But when identity is shaky, when worth is based on attention, likes, or praise from the crowd, then another woman shining can feel like a spotlight being taken away. It's a lie, but it feels true. That lie says there's not enough. not enough love, not enough opportunity, not enough favor. So she grabs, she hoards, she withholds, she gossips instead of affirms. She isolates instead of embraces. And without realizing it, she becomes an agent of division in a kingdom that was called to unite. The most dangerous thing about competition among women is that it kills legacy. Because while you're busy competing with her, you're neglecting the power of alignment. That woman you envy might be the very one assigned to open your next door. That sister you side-eye might be the one carrying the wisdom your future needs. But pride will make you pass up a divine connection out of fear that it makes you look small. Real power doesn't compete, it multiplies. When women link arms, hell trembles. When women support each other, communities heal. When women celebrate each other, daughters learn how to stand tall without tearing others down. God didn't give your gifts to outshine your sister. He did so you could stand beside her in strength. The enemy knows that two are better than one. That unity is strength. That one woman can make a difference, but two women in agreement can shift a generation. So he sows seeds of jealousy, of suspicion, of division. Not because you're weak, but because he knows what you're capable of together. And it's time to wake up. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to call out the insecurity, the ego, the competition that's dressed up like confidence, because if we're ever going to rise, we must rise together. She accepts conditional love and calls it commitment because her heart is loyal, because her spirit is nurturing. She confuses endurance with love. She holds on to people who only show up when it's convenient, who love her when she's perfect, but withhold it when she's human. She calls it a relationship, but it's really a transaction. Perform well, and you'll be praised. Fall short, and you'll be punished with silence, distance, or control. And because she craves connection, because she fears abandonment, she learns to adapt. She shrinks, she bends, she molds herself to be whatever they need, even when it's destroying who she truly is. Conditional love is a counterfeit covenant. It looks like loyalty, but it's manipulation in disguise. It's love that demands you lose yourself to keep it. It's affection that only flows when you comply, when you agree, when you make no demands of your own. And somewhere deep down, she starts believing that this is the best she can get. She starts calling dysfunction just complicated. She tells herself, at least I have someone, not realizing she's traded intimacy for instability. Commitment isn't about staying. Anybody can stay physically. Real commitment is about showing up emotionally, spiritually, consistently, without needing someone to perform to earn it. She becomes addicted to the cycle, highs and lows, cold shoulders and sweet nothings, apologies with no change. And every time she forgives without boundaries, every time she loves without being loved back, she teaches them that she will settle for less than what she deserves. Love isn't supposed to make you question your worth. Love isn't supposed to make you prove your value over and over again. But when she's been conditioned to see struggle as normal, she believes that suffering is the price of affection, and that is the lie that traps her. Because once love becomes a reward instead of a gift, She's no longer in a relationship. She's in captivity. The danger of accepting conditional love is that it rewrites your identity. It teaches you to suppress your needs, to silence your pain, to walk on eggshells in your own life. It tells you that who you are is too much, too emotional, too needy, too demanding. So you minimize yourself to stay loved. But real love doesn't require your silence. Real love doesn't punish your honesty. Real love isn't earned. It's given freely, just like grace. Until a woman realizes that, she'll stay in rooms where her tears are ignored, where her growth is resented, and where her presence is tolerated but never cherished. And that's not love. That's survival. She nurtures everyone else and neglects her own soul. Her heart is wired for care. She's the first to show up, the last to rest, the one who holds it all together when everything is falling apart. She pours out prayers, time, energy, and grace to her children, her partner, her church, her friends. And because she's so good at giving, the world forgets to ask if she has anything left. She becomes the place where everyone else lays their burdens, yet she carries hers in silence. She smiles while running on empty, convincing herself that selfless means invisibility. But slowly, piece by piece, she disappears. She has confused sacrifice with self-abandonment. There's a difference between serving and surrendering your whole identity. There's a line between being generous and being depleted. But somewhere in her upbringing, in her culture, in her spiritual environment, she was taught that rest is weakness, that saying no is selfish, that needing something for herself is less noble. So she claps for others while her own dreams collect dust. She builds everyone else's life while hers stands unfinished. She says she's fine while breaking inside. And the danger of this pattern is that over time, her soul begins to whisper, then weep, then go numb. A woman who does not care for herself becomes bitter toward those she serves. Resentment grows in the soil of burnout. She starts to wonder, when is it my turn? But feels guilty for even asking, so she keeps giving from a place that no longer has anything left. She gives beyond her capacity, beyond her boundaries, and calls it strength. But true strength is knowing when to pause. True love is not just outward. It begins inward. You cannot pour from an empty cup and call it holy. Even Jesus withdrew. Even he rested. If the Savior of the world took time to replenish, why do you think you can survive on fumes? Women were never designed to be everyone's rescue. You are not their God. You are their guide. And a guide who is lost cannot lead anyone to safety. If the enemy can't stop your calling, he'll try to exhaust you out of it. He'll keep you so busy caring for others that you forget how to care for yourself. But your healing matters. Your peace matters. Your voice, your joy, your rest, they matter. You are not selfish for tending to your soul. You are wise, because when a woman is whole, everything around her changes. Not because she's superhuman, but because she finally realizes that she's not meant to die saving people who would rather watch her drown. Ladies, daughters of destiny, queens in waiting, I came with a burden on my heart today. I didn't come to entertain. I didn't come to impress. I came to interrupt the silence, to break open the vaults where so many women have locked away their worth. their wisdom, their wonder. I came to call you out of the shadows. You've settled in and back into the brilliance you were born for. Because somewhere between the heartbreaks and the hustle, between carrying everyone else and losing yourself, some of you have forgotten who you are. You've downgraded your value to fit in, to be loved, to be chosen, to be safe. But I came to tell you, don't be that woman. Don't be the woman who self-sabotages in silence. Don't be the woman who confuses sacrifice with self-erasure. Don't be the woman who trades her crown for crumbs. Today, we're going to expose it. We're going to unmask it. We're going to uproot every lie you've been told and every lie you've believed. This ain't just a message, it's a mirror. And before this is over, you're going to see yourself the way God sees you, valuable, powerful, unshakable, and irreplaceable. I'm about to give you 5 ways women destroy their own worth, not to shame you, but to save you. Because the truth is, your enemy isn't always out there. Sometimes the enemy is in how you think, how you speak to yourself, how you settle for less, not anymore. So tighten your wig, fix your crown, and get ready, because we're going in. She settles for less because she forgot what she's worth. It doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle, it's slow. Somewhere along the way, life whispered lies that sounded like truth. Maybe it started with a rejection, a father who wasn't present, a relationship that broke her in places no one could see, and she internalized it. She stopped believing she was worthy of more. So when the wrong job offered just enough to survive, she said yes. When the wrong man offered attention without intention, she said yes. When the wrong friends demanded her loyalty but never gave her love, she said yes. Not because she lacked discernment, but because somewhere deep down, she doubted she deserved anything greater. You see, when a woman forgets her value, she starts negotiating with people who never deserved a seat at her table. She trades diamonds for dust and royalty for routine. Her standards become shaky, her boundaries become blurred, and before long, she's calling dysfunction normal just to feel like she belongs. She shrinks herself to fit in rooms she was called to lead. She says it's fine while silently suffocating in situations that don't honor her. It's not that she lacks potential, it's that her memory has been tampered with. Life made her forget. Trauma made her forget. Settling is never about scarcity, it's about identity. When you don't know who you are, you'll accept whatever's handed to you instead of demanding what's been promised to you. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs you to discount yourself. Because when you lower your price, you invite the wrong buyers. And the saddest part is people will treat you exactly the way you treat yourself. If you carry yourself like a clearance rack, don't be surprised when you attract bargain hunters. When you remember who you are, when you know you're the daughter of a king, you stop entertaining counterfeits and start waiting for covenant. You stop clinging to comfort and start walking in calling. You stop asking for permission to be powerful. The moment a woman reclaims her worth, she becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, because she finally realizes that settling isn't safe, it's expensive,